Talk about low-budget flights, no food or movies? I'm out of here. I like running better. Welcome back, YouTube viewers, to another video. So, Sonic Movie 3 is finally here, and it's finally time for me to do a review of it. So, wow, the lead up to this has been quite a ride since the second movie released almost 3 years ago. If you've been following me for a while, you would know that until that first trailer dropped, I was not excited for Sonic 3. I was still going to see it anyway, but after just how bad the second movie was, and then how bad Knuckles ended up being, I thought this would be garbage. But I've got to say, once the first trailer came out for this movie, I thought, okay, that actually looks pretty good. I've got some issues, but it's pretty good. Second trailer got me more excited, and the actual movie, well, I really liked it. I definitely have some issues that I will be getting into because the things that bugged me definitely bugged me, but this movie still had a lot of stuff I really liked. Without further ado, let's dive on in. Sorry. Okay. So first I'm just going to talk about Team Sonic, Sonic, Tails, Knuckles. They were so much better in this movie than they were last time. Sonic is not nearly as annoying as he was in the second movie. He's not just some guy who runs around making fart jokes. This movie doesn't have any fart jokes, by the way. Thank God. He's not just spouting reference humor. Tails, while still not great, actually feels more like a character and feels more like he needs to be there. Knuckles, again, isn't the best, but he's not as stupid as he was at the end of the second movie. He's a lot tougher like he was for most of that movie, which I definitely appreciate. I mean, I don't really like the joke about him being absolutely terrified of Casper the Friendly Ghost, but hey, him being afraid of ghosts is definitely ripped from SA2, so I guess I can respect that anyway. And, well, they definitely still have some cheesy dialogue. These three are basically just tolerable here. I do actually buy their friendship, which I appreciate. I like their team dynamic. I mean, I still kind of wish they were just called Team Sonic, but them being called Team was part of the movie's messages and all that. Excuse me, I'm still a little sick. And I really like the scene where Sonic is absolutely ticked after Shadow almost kills Tom. And he's saying, okay, I gotta go get the Master Emerald, go Super Sonic, and I'm gonna finish this. Knuckles is telling him, no, as the Guardian of the Master Emerald, I can't let you use it. Especially not for revenge. And they have this big heated not debate, but you know what I mean. And it looks like they're about to start fighting. I thought they actually would fight. Tails tries to break it up, which is nice, good for his character. Sonic's whole fight with Shadow is just awesome, but we'll get to that. I also just appreciate his character arc here. It's nice. These three aren't great or anything, as I already said before, but they're definitely a lot better, and I'm still not the biggest fan of Ben Schwartz and Idris Elba as Sonic and Knuckles, but they're definitely better here than they were last time. So, overall, I enjoyed Team Sonic in this movie. Now to talk about Eggman and Gerald. Okay, first I have to say, I don't like Jim Carrey. I don't like his Eggman. I mean, I just don't like his performances. Granted, I've hardly ever seen him, but I just don't find him to be funny. He is way too over the top and extreme, and it's just annoying. I will say I saw this review from Talk the Highs and Lows of Sonic 3, spoiler discussion from the Silver Ace 01. His co-host Ian Waffles saying how something I'd never even thought before, which is that Eggman in the first movie is actually handled quite well. He's still got kind of that silly, goofy Jim Carrey stuff, but it feels more like the kind of silly stuff you might kind of see from Eggman in the games or maybe one of the cartoons. But in his actual character feels more like Eggman. You've got him being super superior to everyone, saying how, I don't even need to know your name, I'm better than all of you, I'm a genius. And he's like, how could you care about this blue alien rat? He's absolutely repulsed by everyone, and he feels like he's on top of the world. That's Eggman. And then the second movie, I guess they just let Jim Carrey do whatever he wanted. And he's just, I'm gonna do the floss guy. I'm so funny. Whoa, isn't that crazy? That's just not funny. It's obnoxious. He hardly ever felt threatening because so much of the movie was just him messing around, doing dumb things. Here, he's a little better, but I'm not really sure. I mean, okay, one, halfway through they give him his game costume, which I appreciate, but I mean, they didn't make him super fat, which is dumb. Come on, guys, you're finally gonna give him his game costume. You still won't do that. He's a gained weight, but for some reason they made Gerald super fat, but not Eggman. But whatever. I guess we're still close enough. But as for Gerald himself, at first I was just perplexed, thinking, wait, what? Gerald Robotnik is alive? Thinking, wait, does that mean he's gonna be young 50 years ago, and that's why he's old now? But no, it says that even 50 years ago he was old. He's just 110 years old. And look, I can suspend my disbelief, but you cannot expect me to buy that 110-year-old man has been sitting in prison for all that time and isn't super out of shape and weak, and he can just speak normally. He can just walk around just fine. You kidding me? I mean, I think the story that is presented here is pretty interesting with how Sonic asks Eggman, "Hey, if you had a family, maybe you wouldn't turn out to be a supervillain." He says, "Family's for losers. No one ever liked me, and I only need myself." And then when he meets his grandfather, his actual family, he wants to bond with him and all that. And like, wow, he's my grandfather. And again, that's where some of the really annoying Jim Carrey isms come from. I guess the virtual reality montage they have is fine, but it goes on for a little too long, and I don't like both of their stupid dance numbers. Still better than the dance scene from Sonic 2, that's for sure. And well, I like how it goes. Eggman's thinking when he hears about Gerald's plan, wait, you're gonna destroy the entire world? We need to rule mankind. We can't just wipe them out. And he says, we need to do this, my revenge and all that. Saying, can't let me live? I'm your family. He says, you're no Maria. Eeh. That's a really good line. And I also appreciate how it's about how Gerald is manipulating Robotnik. And in the end, he's thinking, I don't care about you, whether or not you are my family. I'm going to kill everyone, including myself. Which is definitely not something I expected to hear. But again, and yeah, I really like when this movie does dive into Gerald Robotnik's insanity. The problem, like when Shadow's asking him, Professor, do you really think wiping out all of mankind is really? Do you think Maria really would have wanted this? How is this avenging her? And he says, Shadow, you have to listen to me. Maria's life only mattered if we kill everyone. But the movie doesn't actually dive into his insanity that much. So much of it's just him acting goofy and crazy and silly and haha. It's just not funny. His death scene, I agree with everyone, is pretty funny and how it's so pathetic. He just basically gets hit by a bug zapper. I find that to be pretty entertaining. Overall, I don't like Eggman. Eggman sacrificing himself is fine. I just don't like how this movie is kind of giving him a redemption arc, sort of. It's just, this is Eggman, guys. I don't like it when these newer stories like Frontiers try to make you feel, oh, Eggman is a villain, sure, but he is not that bad. This is Eggman, guys. In these movies, he went completely mad with power, talking about how he's gonna rule the entire universe and just kill all these people and destroy everyone. In the games, he's even worse, but whatever. He's dead and gone. We finally don't have to deal with Jim Carrey's Eggman anymore. I am so thankful for that. This section has gone on for way too long. Let's continue. Okay, so how does this movie tackle the characterization of Shadow the Hedgehog? First things first, he's only called the Ultimate Life Form once, and he doesn't call himself that. That's kind of annoying. And Keanu Reeves never gets to say, Maria! But still, I loved this version of Shadow. I really didn't expect to, because again, I thought the second movie sucked. So I was thinking, wait, are they just going to make a bunch of jokes at his expense? Or are they going to make him some over-the-top edge guy? No. Or especially after I really didn't want Keanu Reeves to play Shadow. I really hoped Hayden Christensen actually would. And after playing that movie DLC, I think we all agreed that Keanu was gonna be really bad. But no, the actual movie, he sounds completely different and he sounds way better. I gotta say, he's one of my favorite Shadows. I like him more than Jason Griffith. He's still not as good as David Humphrey and Kirk Thornton, who really proved himself this year, but I really liked Keanu Reeves' Shadow. Also, Shadow is probably the best design out of all the characters translated from the games. That's nice. Um, I like how, while he's serious and a little stoic, he's not just portrayed as this jerk, edgelord guy. He doesn't sound the way he sounds in Sonic Boom. He sounds more like how he did in Sonic Adventure 2 and Sonic Heroes. That's very appreciated. I really like the flashbacks with Maria. They do give you a good reason to care about her death and all that. I think her death was handled quite well. Obviously, I'm always going to prefer the original story of SA2 with the whole Shadow's memories were altered. He remembers at the end thanks to Amy and all that. I do think it was a good idea for this movie to approach the adaptation as it did with how Shadow's memories weren't altered. The reason he is after revenge on mankind is because, well, one, he's been locked in a tube for 50 years and it makes sense he'd be kind of ticked. And then also, when he does start to have doubts about all this, Gerald keeps telling him, like I said before, no, come on, Shadow, we will have our revenge. We have to do this. So he's thinking, I have to do this. It's my job. But he also just gets to have decent jokes. I don't feel like jokes is expensive. Just like when he's watching that Mexican soap opera with Agent Stone and just commentating on it. That was genuinely really funny. Probably a reference to all those memes about Shadow and I don't know, it's just Mexicans or something. Those are weird. I don't know, ever read the fan comic Ghost of the Future? There's a little bit in it about how Shadow likes a Mexican soap opera. So honestly, seeing that in a movie is just so weird, but it's genuinely really funny. I really like his redemption story here. I mean, the whole flashbacks with Maria and on the field and the stars. All I could think of was Dark Beginnings when I saw that, and that's definitely a good thing. I really like how he's handled here. There's no Bio Lizard, but we do get a cool reference to it in this movie. He and Maria are watching like some old Godzilla monster movie with this big lizard creature with tubes on it. That was really funny. I like he gets to have his motorcycle. That was cool. I never liked Shadow having a gun. I don't understand why people like that. I heard people say how, oh, now we're going through revisionist history. People suddenly saying that Sonic Colors is terrible, and Sonic Colors is pretty good. But now no one's talking about the revisionist history that all of a sudden Shadow the Hedgehog wasn't actually that bad. Guys, I understand nostalgia, but Shadow the Hedgehog was really bad. All of the terrible memes treating this franchise like some stupid joke, all of that comes from that game. '06 just solidified that. Thankfully, he only has a gun for one scene. It's not a realistic gun. There's no dumb line about Shadow having a gun. Isn't that funny? Or Sonic never says, "Gosh, you sound like Keanu Reeves." No, they didn't do that. His super form in the climax was colored properly, thankfully. His fight with Super Sonic was awesome. I really like his whole scene with Sonic toward the end about how, excuse me. Sorry about that. Okay, so yeah, I really like his scene with Sonic. It's kind of like the scene with Sonic and Knuckles in the second movie on the beach, and that was one of the few scenes of that movie I did like, but and while people can say this is similar, I feel like it's different enough, and since this movie is overall just way better than the second movie, I actually feel more emotions during this scene about how the movie's he's thinking how he tells Sonic the usual it's something you'd see from a villain about how if you kill me you'll be just like me, but I feel like it actually works here because again I said I really liked Sonic's whole anger arc, and I think contrasting him with Shadow about losing a human friend that was really close to him and becoming angry and obsessed with getting back at someone for it, it's all handled really well. And this movie does not Well, it still has some really stupid jokes with Eggman and Gerald, as well as some other dumb lines. It isn't the infested with the just awful humor of the second movie, although it still has some of that, which is not appreciated. But yeah, Shadow is handled super well here. I think his death was also handled pretty well. Is it being revealed the post-credit scene? No, he's alive. Yeah, okay, sure, fine. I expected Shadow to come back to life, not just because there's that rumored spin-off or whatever, but because guys, they're not going to kill off Shadow. And I know these video games. Of course, Shadow's going to come back to life after Sonic Adventure 2. Yeah, great Shadow. They really impressed me with his characterization. Okay, time to talk about the music. So, I don't think it's an unpopular opinion to say the Sonic movies don't have good music. They just have the most boring, generic movie blockbuster music you've ever heard. Which is a real shame because everyone, even people who hate Sonic games, love Sonic music. But well, I remember I saw a review that said you can count on your hand how many times game music is played in the first two movies. It's 4 times. And 2 of them are just the same use of Green Hill. And you'd probably barely even notice these themes. But here, not only do they use more game music, the regular music, while still not great, is better. I mean, okay, first things first, I didn't notice everything, but I did notice some of it. Obviously, I live and learn in the climax. I genuinely wasn't sure if they're going to play Live and Learn, because I thought that would be too cool. They're not going to be that good to the fans. But no, they did, and it was awesome. Do I wish they played it a little more? Played it a little longer? Yeah. And I appreciate that it wasn't just an orchestrated version of it. We also got to hear some of Johnny G.O.L.D's vocals. That was awesome. Also, I remember I saw this one of the reviews I mentioned earlier. He said that he may like Sonic music. He may even like some of the games, but he doesn't really care about fan service. But the reason Live and Learn worked on him was not just because, oh, it's a good song, but because you hear Maria play it earlier in the movie, so it has actual meaning to it within the movie, not just, oh my gosh, that's awesome music, and hey, I remember that from that game I loved as a kid. What other music? I noticed Eggman's theme from '06 and a few other games popping up there. That was really cool. The do 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 do. Apparently EGGMAN was used as Eggman's ringtone for 2 seconds. When I heard that, I thought that was Throw It All Away from SA2, but no, it wasn't. The credits said Escape from the City played, and apparently little bits of it did when Sonic's running around London, but it's almost impossible to hear. Apparently they also played the do 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 when Sonic finishes the race at the end of the the end of the race in the beginning of the movie. I didn't notice that either. I should have been able to notice more of this music, guys. Yeah. Or also, looked at the soundtrack today. Almost every single title in the soundtrack is based on something. The first part of the soundtrack is called "It All Starts with This." It goes into stuff like I think no, I don't think I'm the coolest one, but there's you see I Can't Let You Live. There's EGGMEN, The Last Story, Wishes Are Eternal, um For All of the People on That Planet, Throw It All Away. um Good Ending, Good Future, I think was one. I really like that. So yeah, pretty good soundtrack, especially when they played video game music. Well, everyone leaving the theater after it was over really enjoyed the movie. I was probably the only big Sonic fan in the audience because I was the only one to cheer during certain parts. When Live and Learn played, I lost my mind. Okay, I can't really pick any visuals because it's the movie's not out on uh, home media and digital yet. There aren't really any screenshots ripped from it yet, so yeah. Here's just this shot of the Ark from SA2. Okay, so I thought the Ark was gonna be called the Ark. It's actually just the Eclipse Cannon, but I'm still gonna call it the Ark because that's what it is. On the subject of the Ark, so I understand that they're not going to do. Gerald built a space station that he worked on, and all that. Maria and Shadow lived in space, but I'm totally fine with them changing it to being just an secret underground cave. But I have to say that Maria being here is given no explanation other than, oh, she's the professor's granddaughter. He takes her everywhere. Couldn't they have at least said something like, oh, he's trying to cure her rare illness or something? Maybe that line would have sounded a little tacky, but it makes sense. Instead, she's just here because. I don't know why. It doesn't work. But the Eclipse cannon itself did look pretty cool. I'm glad they put on the whole Robotnik glasses and mustache, even though it's on the top, not the underside. Fair enough. As I said before, the climax, great. All the visuals in this movie are fantastic. The CGI and direction have all gone to a whole nother level. From the lighting, the visuals, like the fight with Shadow in Tokyo, which, yeah, that scene was not nearly as annoying as I thought it would be from the first trailer, because that's not how it actually is in the movie. The motorcycle chase is awesome with the red lights everywhere. Um, the Eggman's crab looks pretty cool on the big screen, and I wish it weren't just plain white. I wish I had some more color, but uh, all the set design looks really good. They actually got to go filming in Tokyo and Japan and London. That was cool. The Eclipse cannon itself looks great. Supersonic and Super Shadow's Dragon Ball Z fight flying across the Earth going into the moon was awesome. I think maybe showing the moon getting blown up in the second trailer wasn't a good idea. I mean, it doesn't really happen until the very end, and it wasn't an intentional thing like it was in SA2. It was just the Eclipse cannon's about to hit the Earth, and they just barely managed to dodge, hit it away, so it ends up hitting the moon instead. But I'm still glad that was in this movie. Uh, what else? Yeah, the action's just really good this time around. Yeah, fantastic visuals. Movie looked really cool. Post credit scene. Yeah, I already mentioned the part with Shadow. That's fine. The real thing is the post credit scene showing Metal Sonic and Amy. Okay, so I was expecting Silver the Hedgehog. I don't know why. It's just that who else were they gonna put? Thought yeah, maybe Silver and Amy. Did not expect Metal Sonic. I have to say that while I was the only person in the theater for the post-credit scene with Shadow, I went after this part was over. I left the theater, went to the bathroom, went back in, saw that post-credit scene, and told some of the people outside about it. But yeah, so I lost my mind when Metal Sonic showed up, and there was a whole group of Metal Sonics. That was cool. And since these are all probably just drones, does that mean the villain of the next trilogy is going to be Neo Metal Sonic, maybe? I don't know. There's a lot you could do with that. Amy's here. Okay. Look, I don't care about Amy. I don't hate her. I just don't care about her. Because her characterization was always, she was either incredibly annoying or these days she's just very boring. That's not an entertaining character. And honestly, I don't know how well she fits these movies, but I guess they had to include her at some point. And, maybe it's best to save Silver for a fifth or sixth movie. Same thing with Blaze. I'd like to see Silver and Blaze in the post-credit scene. That'd be cool. Overall, though, I still liked the post-credit scene, I guess. Mid-credit scene. I'm excited to see a Sonic 4 in 2027. In conclusion, Sonic 3 is an 8 out of 10. I really like this movie. I definitely have some issues with it, as I went over. It still has some of the quirks of the previous films with some of the annoying humor. Although that's definitely downplayed, the characters are characterized a lot stronger and feel less like paper-thin cutouts that are just joke machines. The drama feels real, the action is really good, the music is improved, it's much better paced. I appreciate that. It's 13 minutes shorter than the last one. A few final thoughts too. I was really worried that the other humans from the first two movies would be in here, but they hardly are. Wade is just there for a quick cameo, which was fine. Maddie's annoying sister and her annoying husband I was really worried we're gonna be here because they were in the trailer. But turns out it was just Tom and Maddie using these holographic disguises as Tails design, so that was that was fine, I guess. They weren't technically in the movie. I did not care about the character, the gun woman. I just who even was that? I feel like she was just they could have just made her anyone and it really wouldn't have mattered. Also, why is Shadow he's not a man-made creation. Okay, so he just crashed in a meteor that looks like the Black Comet, so I guess he's an alien? Because they have this whole bit where Sonic says, "Why do you look like me?" And Shadow says, "No, why do you look like me?" I would just think, oh, if Shadow's an alien, he's probably just from Mobius, so he just also looks like Sonic, because, he's a Mobian. But why did they specifically call attention to this? Because they never get back into this, or is Shadow a creation of Black Doom or something? I don't know, is that going to be in a sequel or a Shadow spin-off or what? This movie raised multiple questions that I want answers to, and who knows? Maybe we'll actually get them answered someday. So, yeah, I really had a good time with Sonic 3. I still am very annoyed by certain parts and certain lines. Oh, yeah, Agent Stone. I hated him in the second movie because he was just weirdly obsessed with Robotnik and was given no explanation. It was honestly kind of creepy. In the first movie, he had no personality. Here, I think he's better with being characterized as, oh, he just wanted to be Eggman's friend because he'd been loyal to him for all these years, and he's thinking, well, I've been with him for all these years, and he never cared about me. He cares more about his grandfather, who, yeah, it's his grandfather, but he just met him. And Eggman saying, yeah, I should have treated you like a friend, not a servant, which, whatever. Okay, now the review is finally done. I'll probably have one more video for this year, but this will be my last Sonic video for the year, and Sonic launched this channel, so, yeah, I am proud of all the Sonic videos I've done this year. Maybe a few of them, my older ones, could be a little better, but overall, I've enjoyed making these. See you one more time this year. That's all for now, and as always, keep on juicing.